it, and Rav Chaim of Volozhin, the Rosh Hashiva, told Melamdim, teachers, focus on this boy. You teach him Chumash. You teach him Mishnayos. You learn with him Gemara. You learn with him Shulchan Aruch. You learn with him Musar. You learn with him Navi and Ksuvim. So basically, he got now good Rebbeim who would turn him into a great student. And Yosla started asking questions in his learning. He started thinking about it and concentrating. And he was so thirsty that almost there was no one in the yeshiva that had that type of thirst. In 3 months already, he was already sitting, learning like everyone else. A very organized, first Seder, second Seder, night Seder, with tremendous diligence, even learning at lunch and at break. You know, sometimes lunch break is hefker. People do what they want. They don't go to the Beis Medrash to learn, some people. And by supper, some people in yeshiva, they waste the time. But not this boy. Now he wanted to make up for all the years he never learned. And he was a Baal Teshuvah. This boy was a real Baal Teshuvah. Someone who wants to become a better person, returns to Hashem. And after 2 years, already his bar mitzvah passed. He had his bar mitzvah in yeshiva. His parents weren't able to come even. This was before the days of cars and trucks and buses. They didn't have Greyhound truck and buses in Volozhin 200 years ago. The story probably happened about 200 years ago. And when he was already 14, the boy was a tremendous lamdin. A lamdin is someone who understands the Torah very well. And he was very diligent. He learned the Gemara and the Rashi and the Tosfos. And he was already part of the group called the Shemona Esrei group. Who's the Shemona Esrei group? I thought Shemona Esrei is what you daven. No, it was a nickname they gave to boys who learned 18 hours a day in Volozhin. They called them the Shemona Esrei group because they learned Shemona Esrei 18 hours a day. Some people, I don't know if they learn 18 minutes a day. But in that yeshiva, there were some boys that learned 18 hours. That means they only had 6 hours left to sleep and to eat and to daven. The rest of the time they were learning. Tremendous hasmara. These are boys that learned through the day and a great portion through the night. Wow. That means 3/4 of the day and night they were learning. Now that's amazing. 18 hours. Wow. Please don't ask me how much Torah I learn every day. It turns out, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to say how much. My wife always tells me, why can't you learn more Torah? She's right. It turns out, in the Volozhin yeshiva, there were these big pillars that held up the ceiling, the roof. Sometimes you don't see the pillars in a building because they have steel beams that go on the top holding the roof. But a lot of times, especially in older buildings, you see big pillars in the middle of the room holding up the roof. It was known that the best boys sat by the pillars because this way they didn't want to be distracted by people walking by. They were sat by the pillar, and these were like known to be the strongest boys.
You sat by the pillar?
And he was one of them. And people started calling him Reb Yosela, der 18er. 18er. Does anyone know what 18er means? Can you go ask Rabbi Muller what 18er means? Please just ask him. Rabbi Albaz needs to know what that word means. If he doesn't know, ask Rabbi Rosenbaum because he knows Yiddish. Boys, we're going to take a break now and sing a song, a beautiful song about Torah, and we'll come back to Ashrei soon. Does everyone know this song? It's a famous song that people sing and to get closer to Hashem. It goes like this: Avinu Hava Rachaman Hamirachem Rachem Aleinu V'Seim B'Libeinu V'Na V'Havinu Le'Yaskel Shmaya Le'Omaydu Le'Lamed Le'Shmar Le'Lasais U'Lekayem Eskol B'Rei Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so we found out that was beautiful singing, boys. I'm sorry if you didn't get Nash for singing, but I gave to boys who I felt were singing a drop better than everyone else. He told me that it means Rabbi Yosla the 18er. That means the 18. That's what he called, the 18?
Yeah, he said 18.
It was Yosla the 18, which means like he was one of the 18 club. After many years, Yosla was famous as a great Talmid Chacham. And one day he was mamash steiging. I don't know how old he was. Maybe by now he was probably 18. At that time, he got a letter from his mother. And it wasn't good news. What happened was his father was a tailor, and unfortunately, a fire broke out on the street that all the tailor shops were, and literally, like dominoes, all the tailor stores were wiped out. The cloth was flammable, the buildings were made out of wood, and literally, the tailors were all out of work. And the mother writes a letter to her son, and in it she says that Daddy's store burned down. And it's gone. So she says, now you're already an older boy, 18, 19. Please, you learned enough Torah. Now come home and help the family. My son, please, she says in the letter, we really need your help to help with Parnasa. Now Daddy doesn't have his regular business. His whole shop burned down in one day, and there goes his whole livelihood. Please, I beg you, come home and help your father that he should establish his job. You know, a man without a job is like a fish without water. He needs it. That's how he survives. How's he going to support his family?
He could learn.
When Yatsala got this letter, this emotional letter of his mother asking him to please come home and leave the yeshiva, he didn't want to leave the yeshiva. He knew every day in the yeshiva I explore more parts of the Torah and I understand the Torah better. I don't want to leave now. So he turned to his Rosh Hashiva and he explained his mother's pain to the rabbi, and he said, what should I do now? Should I close my Gemara and go help my mother? Rav Chaim read the letter carefully, and he let out a moan. Like that. And after a few moments, he said to the boy, listen to me. Just go back to learn. Yasala didn't hesitate. He listened to his Rebbe and he went back to learn. And Reb Chaim sent some money, an envelope of some kesef, of some money for the mother. I'm not so sure whether Rosh Hashiva had extra money. Usually Rosh Hashivas have to collect money to support the yeshiva, but sometimes Balabatim give the Rosh Hashiva money to help Aniyim in the city. So he sent some money to help the family that lost their tailor shop. They lost their business. It wasn't long after that Yasala received another telegram, another letter from his mother. And this one, she spoke very sharp. She says, you didn't listen to me. You didn't come home. Now the situation is even worse. Daddy's not feeling well. He's sick now because he had so much grief. He was so depressed that he lost his business that he's not even healthy anymore. He feels too weak to go start a new business. Come home now. At least now, come home. So, again, the boy went to his Rebbe, Rav Chaim, the Rosh Hashiva, to show him the letter. And this time the Rosh Hashiva made a bigger moan. Like that, he said from his heart. And he says, I don't know what to tell you. But if you ask me, a person never regrets learning Torah. That means in Yiddish that if you're sitting and learning, you'll never regret, why was I learning Torah? You'll never regret it. So Yasala went back to his learning. And he was steiging. And after a little time, he got a third letter from his mother. And this letter was really sad news. The letter said, Abba died. Daddy was nifter. Now Yasla started to cry. He couldn't hold himself back. He started to cry. And he wondered, maybe if I would have helped my father, maybe he would have lived longer. Maybe it's my fault. Sometimes when a parent dies, a child feels as if it's their fault. But it really wasn't his fault. He listened to his Rebbe. So you can't go wrong listening to your Rebbe. So he went back to Rav Chaim, and this time he was crying. And he told him the tragic news that his father died. Rav Chaim started crying with him. Rosh Hashiva is like a father of the boys. He felt his pain and he started crying with the boy. And after some time, Rav Chaim said, listen, I can't really tell you what to do. But I think you should just sit the Shiva, the 7 days of mourning in the yeshiva, and go back to your learning. And the boy listened, and he wrote a letter of comfort to his mother, that Hashem should be menachim her, b'sech shar be'etzion v'Yerushalayim. And now he feels terrible for the news. He's so pained by the sadness of this story. And it seems he sent some money for Parnasa. But he says, Mommy, I have to do what my Rebbe said, and that's to learn Torah. Just like I did in the previous years. And after the Shiva, he got up and he said Kaddish. In the yeshiva, he was the Chazan, daven for the Amid. And when he said Kaddish, that made Aliyas Neshama for his father, and he kept on learning. After many years, I don't know how many years, maybe a couple more, maybe a few more,
20?
the rabbi of Slutsk passed away. And now they needed a new rabbi. Oh, actually it was the same year. It was during the year that he was saying Kaddish. And 5 people, members of the Slutsk congregation, the community, came to Volozhin, and they went to Rav Chaim, and they said, please, can you appoint us a new rabbi that should sit in place of the rabbi that passed away? And they said, we will take care of all his needs. If he's still a bachar, we'll find him a shidduch to get married. We'll find him a beautiful Eishes Chayil, a wonderful wife to support his leading the community. We'll even build him a house next to the shul, something kovedik, and we'll give him support for his food, his drink, his clothing, whatever he needs. Sounds like a really nice opportunity. I'm sure everyone wishes they could have such a job, to be a rabbi next door to your Beis Medrash, and the community support you. That's nice. Get a good salary, $100 million. And, all right, you don't need $100 million. And it turns out they promised that he will be our leader. He will be like our king. Man Malkei Rabbanan. Who are the kings? The Rabbanan. Rav Chaim said, you're looking for a new rabbi? Wait here.
Yeah.
I have the perfect rabbi to take over Slutsk. I see someone already chaps what's happening.
It's Yossi.